Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another edition of Top 5 Best PC Hardware Deals for July 10th. Now, before I get into this video, I do want to mention that Amazon Prime Day starts tonight. Amazon Prime Day has become a quasi-Black Friday for Prime subscribers. If you guys don't know, Amazon Prime grants you free 2-day shipping, as well as a bunch of other incentives like access into their video library, and some other cool features. I'll leave a link down below in the description box if you guys want to start a trial for Amazon Prime, and then you'll be all good to go for Amazon Prime Day. I highly doubt that any of those highly sought after GPUs will be on sale and will be readily available, but hey, maybe they'll surprise us. Kinda doubt that, but as far as other hardware goes, that's all on the table. So with that being said, let's get right into this with number 5. Number 5, I went with the MSI B350 Tomahawk AM4 AMD motherboard. It's a SATA 60 per second motherboard, USB 3.1, down to $95, and it's got a $10 off mail-in rebate, knocking it down to $85, so this is a great entry-level board for Ryzen series CPUs. If you're looking to make a build on a tight budget, I think this is a great motherboard to pick up, and also right now if you pick it up, Newegg is giving away a free MSI mouse as well. It's obviously not the best mouse in the world, but it can definitely get you by, and if you're on a budget, mouse and keyboard is something that I do not recommend spending a lot of money on, and to get a free mouse here, I think that's actually a pretty big incentive. Newegg values the mouse at around $15, so if you knock that off, you end up getting this motherboard for around $70, which is pretty freaking good. Newegg has got the new Xbox One S controller. It's $60, that's its retail price, but there is a promo code that you can use that'll knock off another $22.20, knocking this controller's price down to $37.79. A pretty good price, still somewhat expensive. You can get the regular Xbox One controllers for a little bit cheaper, especially if you look in the used market. However, this is a very nice controller. I think the Xbox One controller is the best controller for PC gaming. I just think the controller is so comfortable, and the S controller is only an improvement upon that. It's got built-in Bluetooth, so if you do have Bluetooth on your desktop, you won't have to buy the adapter. So that is a very nice inclusion, and overall, the controller for $38 I think is a really good deal. Yes, still expensive to get a controller, but as I've been saying for a while, I just think the Xbox One controller is so great that if you're in the market for a controller on PC, I really think this is the best option to go with. Moving on, we got a monitor, the Acer G7 Series G277HL Black 27-inch IPS monitor. It's got an IPS panel with a 4 millisecond response time. It is 1920 by 1080, which is gonna turn some people off. I know some people, for some reason, think that if you get a 27-inch monitor, it has to be 1440p. 1080p at that size just looks disgusting. I don't agree with that notion at all. I think you can perfectly fine play 1080p on a 27-inch screen. I think the games still look great. The only issue with 1080p at 27 inches is if you're exposed to 1440p on 27-inch, well, yeah, then it's hard to go back to 1080p, but if 1080p is all you know, you want to save money, then getting a 27-inch monitor I think is perfectly fine. And this one right now is going for $140, which for a 27-inch monitor is pretty good. It is 60 Hz as well. It's got a VGA port, a DVI port, and an HDMI port. And it's got a very aesthetically pleasing design. It's very slim. So for $140, a solid monitor. Don't be scared off if it's 27-inch. Only be scared off if you've been exposed to 1440p on a 27-inch screen. Then 1080p might not look all that good, but if all you know is 1080p, I think you're gonna be fine with it on a 27-inch screen. Moving on to number 2, the Adata XPG Z1, 16GB of RAM, 2 8GB sticks, running at DDR4 2133 MHz. It's $110 on Newegg, but there's also a promo code knocking off $18. Now this promo code expires today, so if you want this, you're gonna have to bite on it ASAP. $92 for 16GB of RAM is a really solid deal. It has been cheaper than this before, but RAM prices are kinda high right now, so $92 is one of the better deals that you're gonna find. 16GB of RAM has really started to become a nice addition to a lot of builds. Most games can still be ran with 8GB of RAM, no problem, but 16GB of RAM is very nice to have, especially as we move to newer games, and if you're doing things like video editing and live streaming, it's just a very nice added inclusion. And $92 isn't all that bad, considering you're usually paying like $60 for 8GB of RAM, you're only paying like $32 more for double the amount of RAM, so dollars per gigabyte, you're definitely winning out getting 16GB of RAM. Finally, number 1, we do have a video card on here. It's not a deal, but it's in stock, the EVGA GeForce GTX 1060 3GB model. Yes, unfortunately, it is the 3GB model, but right now you're really grasping at straws to get a nice GPU. It's $220, which it's been cheaper than this before, but you do get a free copy of Rocket League. And right now, if you're eager to pick up a graphics card, this is one of the better deals that I've seen. You get Rocket League, which I value at around $20, so the GPU itself is only $200. The cheapest I've seen the 3GB 1060 for has been around like $185, so you're really not even getting gouged all too bad. And the fact that it is in stock, I would recommend get it ASAP. This isn't one of the GPUs where miners are going crazy over this, but the fact of the matter is that the 1060 3GB has become one of the only mid-range GPUs that are somewhat in stock, that people are still buying them up. So I would recommend, if you do want a 1060, even though it's a 3GB model, which is kind of a bummer, you really want 4GB GPUs these days, but 3GB will still get you by. This is as good of a deal as you're gonna find. It's $220, you get a free game, and it's still a very solid GPU for 1080p gaming. So that's gonna wrap up top 5 PC hardware deals for July 10th. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you have a request for a future video, leave it in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.